Okay, Kurt at oldhalloween.com. We're going to do something that we haven't done for at least 5 minutes, and that is we're going to talk about something that's really super interesting for the collectors out there, and that is looking at the most expensive X type of Halloween collectible. In this case, what we're talking about today is blow molds, because I know a whole bunch of folks collect blow molds, and we have just released our blow mold price guide. So you can navigate to oldhalloween.com, click on resources, go to price guides, and you can select the blow mold price guide. You'll want to do that because we already have 30 or 40 different blow molds, and that includes a bunch of different information about them, including not just an image of them, but also a size, in most cases a maker, a time frame. So really good stuff. But let's get down to brass tacks and talk about the most expensive Halloween blow molds ever sold. Of course, for the purposes of our quick video, we'll call them the 10 most expensive blow molds ever sold. But we're going to focus on just Halloween because Christmas really does take the cake. Hey gang, we're going to start with the most expensive blow mold ever sold, Halloween blow mold ever sold. And it was sold on eBay. You can see back in 2013. This is a very rare Frankenstein, a Frankenstein lighted blow mold. Sometimes we call these a blow mold lamp. And of course, you probably know what tool I'm on. I'm looking at here. We're just looking at the various sides of it, but this sold for $1,700 in 2013. That's a decade ago, and it sold on eBay, and it's pretty small. It's only 7.5 inches tall, and of course I'm pulling from our categories and our catalogs. I'm also pulling from Blow Molded to get some information about it. I went to Blow Molded and looked it up, and you can see it's the Glenn Strange Frankenstein monster lamp. It is 8 inches tall by 5.5 inches wide by 7 inches deep, and it looks fantastic. So $1,700. I had no idea blow molds would bring that kind of dough, but there you have it. Now, before you yell at me about Frankenstein not being old Halloween enough, I will tell you that with the advent or the early era of blow molds, that we were already fully enthralled with monster movies. And so it's not unusual that the Hollywood or American spin on old Halloween sort of took a new form with the addition of the Hollywood monsters. And so Frankenstein kind of makes a lot of sense to me, given that it's born about the same time as blow molds, right? Makes a lot of sense. All right, and so for that reason, it might also make sense that our second most expensive blow mold, Halloween blow mold, ever sold, also sold on eBay, and also has ties to Hollywood. Here we go. This is number 2. Check it out. This is a Renzi Monstermobile car. It sold, I should say it was made in the 1960s, but it sold in 2015 for $1,000. And it's super cool in that it's both a car, but it also has a number of monsters in it. And of course you can see here that you can see Frankie here in the front. I see Wolfman there in the back. I'll just flip through here. Look at the side of this blow mold car. This is a blow mold monstermobile, and it has 4 monsters in it. Super, super duper interesting. It says that it is almost 8 inches wide, and if I just keep flipping through, you'll see it even has a little boot back here in the back, I guess in case the monsters needed to take their luggage with them. But I have never seen one of these in person, just happened to find it online, and thought you would also enjoy seeing what is the number 2 most expensive blow mold, Halloween blow mold, ever to sell. In this case, to sell on eBay. In third place, we have Frankenstein again. Here's another Frankenstein lamp. It sold for over $800 in 2017. And we've already talked about Frankie once before, but you're catching on, I'm guessing, to the theme that's happening, and that is that a lot of those early monster type of motifs in blow mold form, vintage blow mold form, are the ones that have tended to bring the most dough, so to speak. So that's our top 3. Let's dig into number 4. It's Frankie again. $670 in 2013. It's another Frankenstein, but this time not a lamp, but a pail. Exact same form, but it was designed for a pail. And in this case, it looks like a very long time ago, someone took the pail and they put it on the same colored plastic neck and used it for a lamp. And of course, it has its marks, but Again, Frankenstein is rocking and rolling in terms of blow molds. I bet you didn't know that. I certainly didn't until I sort of dug into the data. Number 5 is a form that you have seen, or at least you are familiar with, and that is the black cat blow mold with a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin on top. But in this case, this is a very large 26-inch tall pumpkin and cat blow mold. It sold for just under 500 bucks in 2018. It's a very large size or form of this particular kind of lamp. There are several versions of this, but this one sometimes gets referred to as the store model or a Canadian model for some reason, but it is over 2 foot tall. And given the fact that it's over 2 foot tall, when you give it a look, right, it definitely sticks out among all the other Halloween blow molds, but very, very cool. Now, that is our top 5. We have 5 more left of Halloween blow molds to look at. I'm going to pause for just 1 second and just remind you, you'll definitely want to go to oldhalloween.com, click on Resources Price Guide, select the price guide, that's the blow mold price guide. Give those a look. You're going to be surprised at a number of those prices. And of course, please feel free to look at all of our resources. The rest of our price guides, we have a lot of old, antique, vintage Halloween that you can review. We also have catalogs, and of course, every single day, we bookmark things that you'll want to know about collecting old Halloween. Okay, we have our top 5 in terms of vintage, antique, Halloween blow molds, and what they have brought. The top 5 most expensive. We have 5 more in the top 10. Let's get to number 6. All right, number 6 is string lights. That's right, string lights. And what I think is really super cool about these is they came with a skull, with a devil head, and with a small jack-o'-lantern, and you could put them together. My understanding from what I've been able to find is it looks like they were a string of 3 that you could then plug together with other strings of 3 if you wanted a longer string. But string lights, number 6. And this instance brought $450 in 2020, just a very short few months ago. 7 is a haunted house. It's a haunted house. It's super straightforward. It's very easy to, well, actually, one thing is not easy about it, and that is to understand how this newer version of the haunted house bested an older version. I'm going to talk about that in just 1 second, but this brought $450. This is the General Foam Halloween Haunted House. It is, as you can see, well over 30 inches tall, but it's newer, but brought $450 in 2020. Now, I'm going to navigate back over here, as I mentioned earlier, to BLOWMOLDed. Great website for blow molds. And here you can see that this 2004 to 2011 haunted house is a little bit bigger than the 17-inch haunted house. So over here you can see the 17-inch haunted house, and the 17-inch haunted house right here, it actually looks a lot more like the vintage haunted houses that we're used to seeing. Let's look at some of those. To do that, we can just search haunted houses. Here you can see we have an Empire haunted house. It's the exact same form, but it was produced earlier from 1989 to 1992. And here we can see a much earlier Empire house, published as early as 1970 and oftentimes with the 1969 stamp on it. So I'm a little surprised that it wasn't one of these haunted houses that brought that next highest price in terms of a hammer price or a sales price, but rather it was the newer version, Surprising, but still kind of interesting. These are just 17-inch and 13-inch, so maybe there's a size issue going on, since the one we're looking at right here is a 33-inch, a much bigger haunted house. Now, just like Frankenstein's monster held the first couple of slots, we have a really highly collected type of blow mold here that holds the 8th and the 9th slot. In the 8th slot and the 9th slot, we have the green Renzi skull pail. The green Renzi skull pail. And I went ahead and pulled up, just if you're saying, why is he saying green for? Are there others? The answer is yes. You can see that there are a number of colors here. You can see there's a white version, an orange version, and a green version. There's a white version with blue eyes. The green tends to bring the premium, but it turns out that Renzi also created a pink version that brings a high premium. There's a red version that brings a high premium. Orange brings a premium. And then the blue slotted eyes bring a premium. But even if you can only find the lowly white with black sockets, if that's all you can find, that's still a very valuable Renzi pail, skull pail. But the green pail brought $405 in 2013. And then let's see its ninth slot. In 2022, it brought 1 penny under $400. And in this case, it was just the pail by itself, whereas the last version, I think, had an extra pail with it or something. But you can see that the Renzi pails are certainly very collectible. If you didn't know that, you know it now, and it's certainly something to pay attention to. But again, green brings a premium, but so does red and pink and orange and white with the blue eye sockets. The black eye socket's still pretty rare, but the most common of all of those. So just a quick heads up on the Renzi pails, but that is your 8th and your 9th slot in terms of the most expensive Halloween blow molds ever to sale. Let's see what the top 10 is. Rounding out our top 10, this adorable owl on top of a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin also really was tied for 9th, but it also earned $399.99 just a very few days ago. This is a star band owl on top of a pumpkin. And I went ahead and pulled up the example over in BLOWMOLDed. You can, if you want to search this on your own, you can find it here by searching owl and pumpkin. They title it Owl Pumpkin Lamp. It's 13 inches tall. It was produced in the 1960s to the 1970s. You can see them right here. But again, we're looking right here because this is the example that sold, and I will tell you, this example seems like it's been in the sun just a little bit. My guess, if you were to find one of these that was even more orange, it most likely would bring even a higher value, given that really the data we're working with is about the last 15 years. So I've been being a little hyperbolic with saying the most expensive blow molds ever sold from a Halloween perspective, because we don't have data older than that. But really, it's just been in the last 10 years or so where there's been an explosion in terms of these Halloween blow molds. So I hope that you've enjoyed all 10. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's just take a peek at least one more that almost made it into the top 10. So not so vintage, but massive is this 30-inch Gemmy blow mold jack-o'-lantern pumpkin that sold for $391 and a penny just a few short days ago. I just thought you would enjoy seeing that as well. All right, there you have it. Our top 10 plus one of the most expensive Halloween blow molds ever to sell. Ever to sell. And in most cases, actually all of our cases, let's just be honest, they were all on eBay. My guess is out in the wild. That is, for folks who are maybe out and you are Halloween picking, you're looking for those blow molds. If you've come across them before, or if you've ever bought them en masse or a whole collection of them, there's a pretty good chance that something may have realized a much higher price than what we've looked at today. But today we have looked at those that we actually have data for, and Frankenstein takes the cake. Let's just be honest, Frankie is the king of Halloween blow molds. But those Renzi skulls are making a run, and it also seems like some of those 1960s and 1970s blow molds are really starting to push their way forward. I was very surprised as I started doing work looking at just the hammer prices, the realized prices on eBay and beyond for Halloween blow molds, that there's a bunch of vintage blow molds that are really regularly bringing hundreds of dollars. And so you'll definitely want to dig into those if you are a collector. Short-term, long-term, just love blow molds. Dig into these things, and if you happen to come across them, not a bad idea, again, to go to oldhalloween.com and select price guides. Choose the blow molds price guides, and you can just sift and sort down through there and look at all of them with that information, because that information is kept up to date based on these hammer prices. But give that a look. Use it if you have your phone with you when you're out and you're searching, picking, or just buying blow molds. And make sure you're getting a good deal. My guess is that there's some real rarities out there. I didn't originally collect blow molds. I have started to find a few that I really enjoy. And some of those are, it turns out, are pretty vintage and are kind of rare. And I'm gonna just go out on a limb here and say my guess is that our most expensive Halloween blow molds ever to sell will get blown out of the water within the next 2 or 3 seasonal cycles as we see more folks get into collecting blow molds. I hope you've enjoyed our top 10 list. I also hope that you enjoy our price guide for blow molds. And if you ever need anything, if you'd like us to add some resource to oldhalloween.com, just reach out. We are happy to explore and see if we can do that for you. Again, I'm Kurt for oldhalloween.com. Thanks so much.